Okay, thank you for joining in, everyone, and wishing you a very happy Makar Sankranti. It's Bihu in Assam, and let's begin with the usual Shanti mantra from the Upanishads. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunakato Sahavidyankara Vavahai Tejasvinadaditamastu Mavidavishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. All right. So in the last class, we had discussed about the favorable and adverse antardashas in the Mahadasha of the Sun. Okay. So today we will be discussing the favorable and unfavorable antardashas in the Mahadasha of the Moon. Okay. So we have taken a long time, a long time when we speak about when we have covered, but in the way we have covered the dashas. Okay, but anyways, why this has been done is because the dashas are the most important arsenal, the most important tools in your arsenal that you have if you want to predict events correctly. Okay, so I keep on saying repeatedly that as a student of astrology, you need to know at least 2 dasha systems. Okay, so this which we are following, this is the Vimshottari dasha. The next scheme, the other scheme that you must know is either the Naisargika Dasha or the Chara Dasha of Jaimini. Okay, so we'll have a class on that as well. But anyways, so Chandra Mahadasha, the first Antardasha will be of Chandra itself. And if it is favorable, then the native will acquire objects of comfort like good clothes, horses, elephants, vehicles, Chandra is the Karaka of the 4th house. So a favorable Chandra Antardasha will also, bring in devotion towards God and the Guru, okay, and recitation of, Vedic chants or, mantras. And it will also give a rise in status through acquisition of new property. On the other hand, if Chandra is adverse, then there will be, loss of wealth, loss of happiness primarily, because Chandra is the Karaka for happiness, loss of mental peace, loss of emotional stability. And there could also be, illness to the mother because Chandra represents the mother. Okay. The next Antardasha that comes in Chandra Mahadasha is that of Mars. And if Mars is favorable, the person can earn great fortune, favors from the government. Okay. But Ashara says favors from the king. But in the modern times, it refers to the government. All right. And then accomplishments through personal effort, gains from houses, lands, and business. Okay, if Mars is adverse, then there could be surgery for the native. Okay, there could be surgery for the mother that can actually lead to loss of life for the mother. Then there could be a lot of physical illnesses. Okay, and also problems due to pitta. Okay, pitta is the liquid that sustains us. All right, and Mars rules that pitta. So if it is unfavorable, if Mars is unfavorable, then it can lead to a lot of pitta problems, which can come up as digestive issues. Okay. Then the next Mahadasha, the next Antardasha that comes with Chandra Mahadasha is that of Rahu. So this is very, very difficult. Okay. Moon Rahu is very, very damaging towards health. Okay. And it can also lead to displacement from place of work. It can lead to problems from the female, female gender, because moon represents the feminine. Okay. It can also lead to, poisoning. Okay. Food poisoning primarily because the moon is food. So, Rahu Chandra, Chandra Rahu can lead to food poisoning if Rahu is adverse. Okay. Now, Rahu will produce adverse results even if it is located in a Kendra or a Trikona. Okay, I generally don't want Rahu to be located in, in a Kendra or Trikona because it causes a lot of problems. But for best results, Rahu should be, in 3rd or 11th house from Chandra. If Rahu has to give good results during Chandra Mahadasha. Okay, remember this technique. All right, Rahu Chandra will be anyways difficult if Rahu is located anywhere other than in the 3rd or 11th from Chandra. Okay. Now, some people will ask me, what if Rahu is located in the 6th from Chandra? In that case, we will get a lot of torment from enemies. Okay. Now, if this Rahu is favorable, then it can lead to huge gains. Okay, the person can end up buying a lot of land and property, and it can also, the person can also find a few secret mantras that are very, very powerful. Okay. Then Jupiter. Chandra Mahadasha, Jupiter Antardasha, Guru Antardasha. So if it is favorable, then it can enhance your status. It can also lead to childbirth. It can also lead to building new houses, moving into a new house, okay, and prosperity in general, okay. Now prosperity is, I think I lost 1 year during Rahu Antardasha and Chandra Mahadasha. Yeah, because Rahu is a separative planet. Okay, that is the reason. Now, prosperity does not mean, having a good bank balance. Okay, prosperity means having the ability to generate whatever you need at the given moment. Okay. For example, you may have you may be a billionaire, but if someone leaves you in the desert and you cannot find food or water, you will die. Okay, that amount of money in the bank cannot save you. Okay, so prosperity means getting whatever you want at the right time, at the right moment. Okay, so if you're in the desert and you cannot eat your money. Okay, you may have $1 million in your bag that you are carrying in the desert. You cannot eat your money, so you have to find someone to give you food, or you have to find a way to have food and water. That is prosperity. If you find it, you are prosperous. If you don't, you are not. Okay, now if Jupiter is adverse, it will lead to inauspicious events, okay, like death of a child, maybe some miscarriage or something. Okay, it can also lead to displacement from your home, okay, and then loss of land or vehicle or houses. All right, maybe you have built a very costly house and then that house gets destroyed in some earthquake or in some flood. Okay, that is when Jupiter is afflicted. Okay, and it can also lead to a lot of wandering in foreign countries because Jupiter rules the natural 12th house of Pisces. Okay, then comes Moon and Saturn. Again, this is a tough period, but if Saturn is favorable, it can give you, it can give you favors from the government. It can also give you gains from your network circle. Okay, if adverse, it can lead to a lot of body illness. Okay, it can lead to a lot of painful diseases like cancer, and it can also make you susceptible to sad news. Okay, sad news may be coming from everywhere. So there was a client who came to me for for reading his chart, and he was telling me that I receive sad news almost every day. Why? Because this that happened, and as I saw the chart, he was going through Saturn Antardasha and Moon Mahadasha. Okay, Mercury, if it is favorable, then it can give a lot of income, because Mercury is the karaka for liquid cash. Okay, it can also lead to study of scriptures because Mercury is the eternal learner. It can also lead to increased knowledge and learning. Okay, it can make you start new businesses that generate a lot of cash for you. All right, if adverse, it can give you nervous problems. It can give you muscular problems. It can also bring troubles to your troubles to your children, because Mercury rules children. Okay, so your child can also be troubled if Mercury is unfavorable. Okay, again, Moon Ketu, again, this is a very difficult period for during Chandra Dasha. So it can lead to mental inconsistency. Okay, it can lead to fanaticism. It can lead to surgeries. It can lead to injuries and accidents as well. Okay, if it is favorable, however, it can lead to it can lead to a lot of spiritual pursuits, religious pursuits, and it can also lead to childbirth, because Ketu is the karaka for progeny. Okay, Jupiter is the karaka for children, but Ketu is the karaka for progeny. Okay, Moon Mercury undergone surgery during Ketu Antardasha, got job, but then you also have to look at how well you are, how much you are satisfied with the job. So that is another big question. Anyways, yeah. So don't think that if you have gotten a job during a particular period, a difficult period, it can it can be good. You can actually suffer through that. Yes, Dibyajyoti. Yes, raised his hand. I think it has been by mistake. Okay, let's go. And then Chandra Venus, if it is favorable, then this can be very, very good. Okay, Chandra Venus together is Annapurna, so you can get the opportunity to enjoy a lot of exotic food. Okay, you can get the opportunity to enjoy a lot of exotic food. Okay, and food that is good for your health, basically, not the food that damages your health. Okay, it can also make you taste a lot of exotic wines, you know, and then it can also lead to association with a lot of charming people from the opposite gender. Okay, it can also lead to lead to the birth of a daughter. If it is adverse, then it can uproot you from your home. Okay, it can also give problems from vehicles, because Venus is the karaka for vehicles. Maybe your vehicle gets stolen, or maybe your vehicle undergoes some kind of accident, and so on. All right, and then Sun. So if it is favorable, it can give you a lot of favors from the government. It can also give you gains from the father. Okay, birth of a son and a good robust health. If it is adverse, then it can make you suffer from fertility problems. Okay, it can make you suffer from laziness. It can make you very, very indisciplined. All right, so this is about Chandra Mahadasha and the other various antardashas. Guruji, demonetization face kiya tha bank mein during antardasha, yeah. So that was a tumultuous period as well. Now during Mars Mahadasha, what are the antardashas that are favorable and that can that are unfavorable? So the first antardasha during a Mars Mahadasha is that of Mars. So if it is favorable, it can bring you fame from the grace of the ruler. Okay, it can lead to increase of wealth and property, because Mars is the karaka for property. Mars is one of the karakas of the fourth house, and it can also lead to increased income from agriculture. Okay, if it is adverse, it can it can lead to injury from sharp objects or weapons or fire. It can also make you subjected to physical violence. Okay, and it can also cause urinary ailments. Okay, then Mars Rahu, this is a difficult period. Okay, so Mars Rahu, it makes you very, very courageous, first of all, and it's a high possibility that that courage can be misused, or that courage can be can mislead you. Okay, so if this Rahu is adverse, it can lead to injury from firearms, from weapons, and it can also lead to loss of wealth. Okay, never make any, this is a general rule, never make any investment in property during Mars Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha, because your money can get stuck. Okay, because Mars is the soldier. Okay, and he is always moving. Rahu is extreme cold, so he freezes Mars. Okay, Mars is very hot, Rahu is extreme cold, so it freezes Mars, and that condition is known as Kuja Stambhana. Okay, but if Rahu is favorable, it can give you a lot of foreign travels. It can give you it can give you unimaginable wealth. Okay, and it can also give you a huge success in the IT field as well as in other businesses. Okay, again, Jupiter, if it is favorable, it can give you it can give you success from agriculture. It can enhance your status, and it can also give you comforts from wife and children. Okay, if it is adverse, it can lead to excess of pitta problems. Okay, it can lead to untimely death as well. Okay, and it can also make you suffer from children. Most of the times you hear parents getting beaten up by their children and things like that. Yes, so this is what an unfavorable Jupiter does to you during Mars Mahadash. Okay, yes, suicidal thoughts is very, very common. Okay, if Rahu is bad. Then comes Saturn. So if it is favorable, it can lead to a lot of rise in your profession, in your income. Okay, it can also make life very comfortable, very fortunate. If it is adverse, okay, you can face problems from people belonging to a lower caste. Okay, you can face problems from servant. Maybe your servant does some kind of physical violence against you. Okay, maybe your servant will you've seen families being poisoned by their servants. You've seen people being poisoned or being killed by their servants. So this is an unfavorable Saturn during Mars Mahadasha. Okay, and Saturn is the primary enemy of Mars. Okay, so wherever Saturn is located, even if it is located in a Kendra or Trikona from Mars, it is bad. But if it is located in the 8th or 12th from Mars, it is worse. Okay, generally Saturn gives good results during Mars Mahadasha only if Saturn is 6 houses away from Mars. Okay, wherever your Mars is placed, if Saturn is 6th from Mars, in that case only it can give you good results. And the other position that Saturn gives good results in is the 11th position from Mars. Okay, then Mercury. So if it is favorable, okay, Mercury is another enemy of Mars. Okay, so if it is favorable, it can give you, it can give you gains from your children. It can make you learn a lot of things about medicine, okay, about surgery, about weapons, about firearms, and so on. If it is adverse, it can lead to heart diseases. It can lead to nervous problems. Okay, it can also lead to a lack of discrimination. That means you'll end up doing something because of which you will later on regret. Okay, and if Mercury is bad, it can lead to fiery speech that makes you, that makes you very unpleasant, that makes you come across as someone who is very unpleasant. Okay, again, Mars Ketu, if it is favorable, okay, it can lead to construction of new houses. It can lead to, it can lead to birth of progeny. It can also lead to acquisition of, weapons, sharp weapons. If it is adverse, it can make you, prone to black magic. It can make you susceptible to attacks from various spirits and so on. Okay, because Mars Ketu together, combined together, forms a yoga which is called Pishasha Yoga. Okay, it is called Pishash Yoga. Pishash Yoga is when you can, when you face problems from spirits. Okay, so Bekong has a lot to say because he is undergoing Mars Mahadasha. Okay, but anyways. So Mars and Venus, again, this is usually Mars and Venus are regarded to be enemies, but if Venus is favorable, it can give you a lot of, a lot of money through vehicles. Maybe you'll end up buying a vehicle and then making a lot of money through it. Okay, and it can also make you very inclined towards music, okay, towards sex, towards art and dance and song. All right, if Venus is adverse, it can lead to, physical illness. It can lead to fear from thieves. It can lead to, discord at home. Okay, if Sun is favorable, it can lead to acquisition of fame. Okay, Mars Mahadasha, Surya Antardasha, it can give you a lot of fame. It can give you a lot of prosperity and make you earn favors from the government. If it is adverse, then it can, it can lead to untimely death. It can also lead to problems from the government. Okay, maybe you've made a lot of money and then there is a raid by the government agencies at your place, and that, that implicates you. So this is about Mars and Surya. Okay, and it can also lead to, it can also lead to diseases in the bones because Surya leads to, rules the bones. Okay, then the moon. All right, if it is favorable, then it can lead to a rise in status. It can lead to acquisition of land and vehicles. It can also give you gains from the real estate. If it is badly placed, it can cause adverse effects to the mother. Okay, maybe the mother will undergo some kind of surgery in which she loses her life. Okay, and then it can also lead to a lot of mental trauma. Okay, next we have the Rahu Mahadasha, and Rahu Mahadasha is the most tumultuous period that you will face in your life, irrespective of wherever Rahu is placed. Why? Because for each Mahadasha to be activated, you need the Antardasha of Rahu to come. Okay, you need the Antardasha of Rahu to arrive in your life. And in case of Rahu Mahadasha, the first Antardasha is that of Rahu. So Rahu Mahadasha gets activated at right from the start. Okay, so it's a very tumultuous period. Okay, for other Mahadashas, they will get activated, or they'll start giving you 100% results only after Rahu Antardasha. Okay, but for Rahu Mahadasha, it starts giving you results from the very beginning because the first Antardasha is that of Rahu. Okay, so if it is favorable, then it can give you huge profits in business. Okay, it can make you travel to foreign lands. It can give you rise in your professional status. Okay, now how do you judge this Rahu Mahadasha? Yes, generally, the Rahu Antardasha will be favorable if Rahu is placed in Cancer, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Scorpio. Okay, this is what I have generally seen. If Rahu is placed in Cancer, Sagittarius, Scorpio, and Virgo, Rahu Mahadasha, sorry, Rahu Antardasha is favorable. Okay, If it is adverse, then it can cause, it can cause loss of your, loss of grandparents. Okay, troubles from the ruler, and even loss of face. Loss of face means your face can be physically damaged, maybe by some kind of accident or something, or it can damage your reputation as well. Face is also your reputation. People know you by your face. Okay. For Jupiter, if for Jupiter Antardasha, if it is favorable, Rahu Jupiter can give you a lot of money. Okay, it can give you a lot of money. All of a sudden, you can become rich. You have seen those rags to riches stories. Okay, so it can give you a lot of, a lot of money. Okay, because Rahu Jupiter is maligned as, is maligned as Guru Chandala, but actually, Guru Chandala for this day and age of Kali Yuga, it is good. Okay, it can also lead to gains from grandparents. Okay, maybe your grandparents leave you with a huge fortune that makes you wealthy all of a sudden, and so on. Okay, if this Jupiter Antardasha is adverse, then it can lead to a lot of obstructions in new undertakings. Okay, it can also lead to heart diseases. It can also lead to loss of elder brother. Okay, and also illness to husband. If it's for a female, it can lead to illness of husband or father. Okay, for Saturn, for Mars Mahadasha, Saturn Antardasha, if Saturn is favorable, it can give you, it can give you things like, good servants. Okay, there are people who have servants who have stayed with them for, for as long as 20 years, 30 years. This is because they have a very favorable Saturn helping them. Okay, Saturn is the kingmaker. Okay, just like the sun is the king, Saturn is the kingmaker. So the Saturn, a healthy Saturn will, will give you a lot of gains. Okay, because the one planet that makes you great is Saturn. Saturn has the responsibility of making you great. And how does he do it? He does it by giving you trauma. Okay, he does it by making you face unfavorable situations. And when you face unfavorable situations, you have two options. Either you deal with that unfavorable situation even though you don't want to deal with it, or you let go of that situation. Okay, those are the only two ways of dealing with an unfavorable situation, right? Do you want to, if you come across with some work that no one wants to do you still do that work happily, or do you know that this work is not for you and I'll suffer and I'll let it go? So that is Saturn. Okay, do you have a healthy Saturn or do you have a bad Saturn? It depends. Okay, that is the reason I say Saturn is the kingmaker. All right, if Saturn is adverse, it can lead to, it can lead to general laziness because Saturn is lazy. Okay, but don't get confused that being lazy is bad. Sometimes you have to be lazy. Okay, because your overactiveness can sometimes kill you. You've heard about Punit Rajkumar. He got killed. Okay, he got killed because, because Saturn, and because he was overworked. Okay, so at times it's good to be lazy. We have this culture coming up which tells you work hard, but eventually working too hard can actually kill you. Okay, so you have to be lazy at times. It's good. Okay, that's the quality of Saturn. But then this laziness, if Saturn is unfavorable, it can lead to laziness at work. It can lead to laziness where you let opportunities slip by. Okay, it can also lead to heart diseases. It can lead to, it can lead to food poisoning as well as untimely death. Okay, Mercury Antardasha, if it is favorable, it can lead to a great enhancement of status, general well-being. Okay, and it can also lead to gains from children. It can also lead to higher education. You can end up learning a lot of things, and you can end up decoding the scriptures. Okay, because scriptures are Jupiter, but if you want to decode the scriptures, you have to you have to use your Mercury. Okay, yeah, Shane want to. Okay, so if Mercury is bad during Rahu Antardasha, Rahu Mahadasha, if Mercury is bad, it can lead to despising your gurus. It can lead to another disregard for religious rituals, another disregard for the divine. Okay, an excessive expenditure, especially on your boyfriends or girlfriends. Okay, and it can also lead to resorting to falsehood and distorted wisdom. Okay, then comes Ketu. If Ketu is favorable, it can lead to fulfillment of desires. Okay, it can lead to it can lead to acquisition of new houses, acquisition of new property. It can also lead to childbirth. If Ketu is adverse, it can lead to aimless wandering where you're just wasting your time doing nothing. It can also cause, fear from thieves. Okay. It can also make you prone to injuries and accidents, and also separation from your parents. Okay. Generally, Rahu, Ketu, and Saturn periods, in whichever order it occurs. Okay. Rahu, Ketu, and Saturn. Antardasha, Mahadasha, Antardasha, and Pratyantardasha. If it is Rahu, Ketu, and Saturn, in whichever order it occurs, that is your iron and steel period. Okay. Remember this word, iron and steel. All right. So I wanted to have a presentation on that, but anyways, we'll have it soon. Okay. All right. Then comes Venus. So if it is favorable, okay, it can lead to marriage. Okay, it can lead you to taste exotic foods from various foreign sources. Acquisition of friends who will give you a lot of benefits. Okay. And if it is adverse, then it can lead to a lot of sexual scandals. It can lead to affairs. All of a sudden you may be having an affair in your office for the last 10 years, and all of a sudden that scandal comes out in the open. And then, you are left red-faced. You cannot go back to your spouse because you know what he or she will do to you. So it can lead to a lot of, mental trauma. It can also lead to imprisonment. Okay. For example, false allegation may be put on you by a female that, you have harassed her unnecessarily. And all of a sudden you might find yourself in prison. It happens. Okay. Sun. Yes, Rahu Sun is difficult because, Rahu is the primary enemy of the sun. But if it is favorable, it can give you huge gains from the government. It can also give you lordship. Okay. All of a sudden, you are a minister in the cabinet, and all of a sudden you may get a high profile portfolio or things like that. Okay, that is Rahu Sun. If it is adverse, it can lead to heart diseases. It can lead to respiratory issues. It can lead to breathing problems. It can also cause problems with the government. Okay, maybe you'll be accused of trying to pull down the government. Maybe you'll be accused of sedition and things like that. Okay, anti-national is a new word in India. So maybe you'll be accused of being anti-national, and maybe you'll be booked under UAPA and things like that. Okay, yeah. And then Rahu Moon, again, not a very good period to be in, but if Moon is favorable, it can, it can give you a lot of comfort for your partner. Okay. By partner, don't only mean that the wife will get comfort because of the husband. Even the husband can get comforts because of the wife. You have a lot of wives who are earning much, much more than their husbands, right? And it will give you success in all undertakings. Okay. If Moon is adverse, it can lead to a lot of, unfounded fears and phobias. It can make you, develop a phobia of water all of a sudden. Okay. And it can also cause death due to, deposition of water in organs. Okay. Maybe you have an inflated stomach or a bulky stomach because a lot of water has deposited on your stomach and things like that. Okay. Then Rahu and Mars, if it is favorable, if Mars is favorable, you can actually get back money from whoever you had lended money. Okay, to whom you had lent money, you can get back that money. If the person is not returning money, then Rahu Mars is a good period to get it back. Okay, it can also make you the commander of an army. All right, this is what Parashara tells, commander of an army. But in the modern context, it can make you, elevated in your job. Or for example, you can become a team leader, or maybe you have become a manager in an organization. Okay. And then if it is adverse, then it can lead to a lot of discord with your family. It can make you prone to accidents and injuries. It can also make you prone to, fire accidents and so on. Okay. So we'll come to Jupiter next, and just give me a couple of minutes before I get back to it. Okay. Kindly elaborate a bit on Guru Chandala and how it plays out in Rahu Dasha, and what are the manifestations in Pishachi Yoga. Does it mean mental health issues? Yeah. So see, Guru is the Brahmin. Okay. Guru is the Brahmin, and Rahu is the Chandala. Okay. So if you have to find out the best of the Brahmins, the sun is if you look at the caste of the planets, only Jupiter and Venus are Brahmins. Okay. So the sun and moon, they are lower than Jupiter and Venus because they are Kshatriyas. But Rahu, it is Chandala. That means Saturn is a Malecha. Malecha means it's an outcast. But Rahu is someone who is, who has completely been terminated from the society. That means he is no longer a part of the society. Okay, so what happens when such an outcast meets, the Brahmin? What happens when the Chandala meets the Brahmin? That is Guru Chandala. Okay, now depending on how Rahu is how Rahu is placed, Guru Chandala will play out differently. Okay, generally it will lead to a lot of, your entire life will be disorganized. Okay, you will be a very disorganized person. Okay, you will not have any organized, because life is about organizing it. Otherwise it is very random, right? Life is very random. Okay, so if you have Guru Chandala, what happens is you are susceptible to taking good advice from your gurus. That is the first thing. Okay, you will be susceptible to take good advice. Okay, you will be very good at ignoring good advice. Okay, advice from your gurus. And by gurus, I mean elders. Okay, so what happens is it will make your life very disorganized. That means you are not listening to your father, you're not listening to your mother, you're not listening to your teachers, you're not listening to your elders. So your life will be very disorganized because you think that I am, the be it and end it of everything. And then you have a lot of questions and you want answers to those questions. And then you don't find anyone to answer those questions. And you become very miserable. Okay. So these two things, your life will be very disorganized. You'll be a very miserable person. Even if you get, $10,000 every month, you'll still be miserable. Okay. The happiness will elude you because Guru is the ultimate karaka for santosha. Santosha does not mean happiness. Santosha is something that cannot be explained. Yes. So how, santosha will be far-fetched from you. Unless and until you find a guru who slaps the hell out of you, you'll not find santosha. Right? So that is Guru Chandala. So even if you find a guru, you'll not accept him or her as your guru. Okay. So in Rahu Dasha, it plays out by making you feel lost. Okay. You want to start a business, you want a mentor, but you don't want to accept that advice from your mentor. So you'll do opposite of what your mentor says, and you will be lost. You will lose your way. You will find it very, very difficult to sustain yourself. You will find it very, very difficult to sustain your work, your career, your family life, and so on. If a female has it, she will also find it very, very difficult to listen to her husband because, Jupiter also signifies the husband after marriage. Okay. Manifestations in Pishash Yoga, extreme anger. Okay, extreme anger. And then there would be some kind of, contracts that you had signed with some spirits, and they will come back to extract that contract with you. Okay. And that can manifest as a mental health issue. For example, schizophrenia. It's a spirit problem. Okay, schizophrenia, people will say various things, but it's that your mind space has been infiltrated by some kind of an entity and you have become schizophrenic. Okay. The other manifestation is people having Pishash Yoga, they can move about very easily. Okay, they can move about very easily in the dark without crash banging into things. Yes, what happens if we go to a new place and it's dark and we are asked to move there, we can really easily crash bang against a lot of things. But people having Pishash Yoga, they can move very easily without crash banging into a lot of things. Okay. So yeah, Shannon has it. But then, that she'll be out of schizophrenia because she's still learning Tantra. Yeah. Anyways, I've heard Guru Chandala corrupts Jupiter also. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That means you will not. How does it corrupt? Okay, how does it corrupt? This is not correct. Rahu becomes benign, but Rahu becomes terrible. This is not correct. What Jupiter does, it controls the lust that is shown by Rahu. Okay, Rahu is all about lust. Rahu is the one without the stomach, without the body. So it wants to eat and eat without being concerned about how to digest whatever it is eating. So that lust is under control. Okay, so Rahu is, Rahu does not become benign, but its lust is under control. Okay, and how does it corrupt Jupiter? The houses that are ruled by Jupiter, you will be, you'll not find. Jupiter is the karaka for abundance. Okay, not prosperity. Venus is the karaka for prosperity. Jupiter is the karaka for abundance. So I think if Guru lowest degree, then Guru will control. No, this is a different concept, Bikong. Okay, because degree system of astrology is an entirely different system. Okay. So in the houses that are ruled by Jupiter, you will not get good advice in those matters. Okay, you will try to deal with them on your own, and then you'll flounder like a blind bat. That is how Jupiter suffers in Guru Chandala. So this is the yoga that makes one see ghosts. No, ghosts can be seen by anyone. Okay, but this is the yoga that makes us very susceptible to spirits. Okay, that means your aura, there are several, your aura, to become protected from these entities or energies, your aura needs to be completely, your aura needs to be without, your aura is like that ozone layer that protects the earth. Okay, what has happened to the ozone layer? We have holes in the ozone layer, and that causes the sun to send its ultraviolet rays. So in the same way, if you have a if you have a Pishash yoga, your aura has holes in certain parts, and that can be very 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 damaging. Okay, Guru Rahu, in short, the person will not be wise. No, the person will be very wise, but his wisdom will not be understood. Okay, the person will be self-taught, but his wisdom will not be understood very easily. Okay, he'll be very wise, he'll be very intelligent. Okay, Jupiter Rahu, even if I don't like them invading my space, but that's fine. You are protected, so our lineage will protect you. Okay, and Guru Rahu, even if connected through nakshatra, is it Guru Chandal Yoga? No, it is not. Okay, nakshatra does not matter. Okay, what happens is, if Guru and Jupiter and Rahu are connected through nakshatra, then the manifestation of the the manifestation of the problems will not be felt, will not be seen by the others. Okay, it is not Guru Chandal, but Rahu will still cause problems, but the manifestations as a result of those problems will not be seen by the outside world. Okay, for example, when we come across a very successful businessman or a businesswoman, we look at only how much they have achieved, but what have they gone through in achieving that success, or what they have, what sacrifices have they made, what bad things have they done, what good things have they done, what sufferings they have gone through. Those are pretty much invisible to us, right? So nakshatra is like that. Okay, it will not make the world see what you have gone through to become who you are. Okay, you may be very good, you may be very bad, but what has happened to you that you have become this way, that is not seen by the world. That is nakshatra connection. Okay, all right, so we proceed further. Yeah, so Jupiter Mahadasha, and we look at the Antardashas. Okay, so if Jupiter, the first Antardasha is of course of Jupiter. So if Jupiter is favorable, then you will be worshipped by the ruler. Okay, for example, you may be very knowledgeable, and then a politician hires you as an advisor. Okay, or the government hires you as an advisor to an agency and things like that. Okay, it can also lead to acquisition of wealth and property. Okay, it can also lead to physical comforts and gain of glory. If it is adverse, it can it can make you associate with people of lower castes. Okay, now this is not bad, but again, a man is known by the company he keeps. So you may be in the company of gossip mongers, or you may be in the company of bad people, and you waste your life in their company. Okay, so that is what Parashara means by associating with lower caste. All right, now it can also lead to illness of children. It can also lead to a death of your employer. Okay, the death of your boss, or it can also lead, for females, it can lead to death of the spouse, the husband. Saturn Mahadasha, Saturn Antardasha, if it is favorable, it can it can open you up to secretive knowledge. Okay, it can make you it can make you indulge in travels to the west. Okay, from where you are. Okay, if a person is from America, then the west from America will be the east, right? So it can make you undergo beneficial travels to the west. Okay, it can also lead to benefits from servants. If it is adverse, then it can lead to obstruction in profession. There will be no growth in the profession, because Guru is the Karaka for growth and Saturn is the Karaka for restriction. So there will be no growth in the profession, and there would be there could also be death of children. Okay, Mercury Antardasha, if it is favorable, it can lead to a lot of new learnings that will be that will be beneficial for you in the long run. Okay. And generally I've seen is, what I've seen is, even if Mercury is very favorable in the chart, but Guru Mahadasha, Mercury Antardasha, it leads to a loss of money, a great loss of money for some trivial things. Okay, you'll end up spending money on things that don't really matter. And this is true for everyone. Okay, I've seen a lot of charts whose Mercury is very favorable, but still in Guru Mahadasha and Mercury Antardasha, they have lost money. Okay. And then if it is adverse, it can lead to, it can lead to skin problems. It can lead to sudden discord with friends. It can lead to eye diseases. Okay. It can lead to, losses in business as well. All right. Then Ketu Antardasha, if it is favorable, it can make you earn through unfair means, and then you can never get caught even if you earn through unfair means. Okay. It can also lead to fulfillment of desires, some long pending desires. All right. Even if Ketu is very favorable, okay, I've seen this also. Even if Ketu is very favorable, then the Antardasha of Ketu in the Mahadasha of Jupiter will make you susceptible to unclean food or food belonging to others. Okay, for example, you may end up going to a pilgrimage, and then you have lost your money, you've lost your bag, you've lost everything, and then you may have to borrow money from others for your food, or maybe others will offer you food. Chalo khalo, take this food. So if you look at it that way, it's not good for material pursuits, but it may be good for spiritual pursuits. Okay. Then if it is adverse, then it can lead to loss of wealth. It can lead to loss of vigor. Okay, and it can also lead to discord with the spouse. If Venus is favorable, then it can lead to a lot of wealth and prosperity. Okay, it can lead to marriage. It can lead to childbirth, especially birth of a daughter, and it can also lead to acquisition of new vehicles. Okay, if it is adverse, it can bring you troubles through women. Okay, it can bring about discord with your in-laws, and also untimely death, because Venus rules the ojas. Okay, then Sun, it can lead to a lot of gains from the government. It can also lead to childbirth, because Sun also rules a part of the sperm. Okay, if it is adverse, it can lead to separation from father. It can lead to death of father. It can also make you susceptible to loss of calcium, because Sun rules the bones. Moon, if it is favorable, it can it can get you married. Okay, it can make you have good food consisting of milk products. Okay, sweet foods basically. And it can also lead to good income. If it is adverse, it can lead to the loss of your maternal uncle. Okay, it can lead to the loss of your mother, the illness, maybe illness to the mother, or trouble from relatives. Okay, Mars, if it is favorable, you'll gain lands, and maybe you've married someone very rich, and the father of the spouse gives you a lot of property after marriage. Okay, so that is a favorable Mars operating in Guru Mahadasha. All right, if it is adverse, you'll be susceptible to loss of property. You'll be susceptible to mental torment. Okay, then Rahu, Guru Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha, it can make you travel long distance, and that travel will usually be profitable. Okay, it can give you introduction. It can introduce you to a lot of secret mantras, because the karaka for mantras is Rahu. Okay, Rahu is the karaka for mantras. If someone has a strong Rahu, the person will be very good with mantras. Okay, if it is adverse, it can give you problems from thieves. It can give you problems from chandalas, from lower caste people, basically. Okay, it can also cause bad dreams. Okay, it can also cause bilious diseases. All right. Okay, so let's stop here today, and the next class we will continue the part on Mahadasha. The remaining part, we have Saturn, we have Mercury, and we have Ketu. Okay, so we'll continue from the next class, and happy Makar Sankranti to all of you. Wishing you a prosperous time, wishing you prosperous times ahead, basically. And stay healthy. Yes, stay good. And I'll see you soon in the next class. All right. Thank you, everyone. Om Gurave Namaha.